Been so much happening in reference to China this weekend. Firstly, the US Secretary of State applauds Australia for standing up to China. As we've covered with Jonathan Lee, Chinese slammed the latest meeting of Quad security member nations in Melbourne. And as Beijing tries to put on their smiley face during the Olympics, I'll show you the latest footage of the myriad of concentration camps in the Xinjiang province. It's barbaric. To discuss this tonight, I'm joined now by Lincoln Parker, Chair of the Liberal Party Defence and National Security Policy Branch. Lincoln, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
I want to talk about this mammoth vote of confidence in Australia from BLINKEN. It was something else, wasn't it?
Absolutely. For the Secretary of State of the United States to come all the way down to Melbourne for 3 days to join with the foreign ministers of India, Japan and Australia really is a credit to the Morrison government and really shows us how committed the United States in particular, but also Japan and India, are to countering Chinese aggression and Chinese coercion.
In the midst of a diplomatic and probably military crisis erupting between Russia and Ukraine.
Well, that's exactly right. And so we've got a lot of analysts in the United States saying, and indeed President Biden himself is not committing as many troops as some would like, but we're going to see possibly Putin invading Ukraine, and that leaves the door open for China to take Taiwan.
OK. Meanwhile, Beijing has reacted negatively to this Quad security meeting that was held in Melbourne. Zhao Lijian, the Foreign Ministry spokesman, said it was a tool for containing and besieging China. Your reaction?
Well, in some ways, he's absolutely right. Well, it's not a tool, it's an agreement between democratic, freedom-loving nations to indeed contain the aggression that we're seeing coming out of China.
But more than containing, it's about putting them on a level playing field with the rest of the world in terms of keeping to the law, international law.
Well, that's right. And it's got nothing to do with China. It's got everything to do with the Chinese Communist Party that rules that country with an iron fist. So, and you're absolutely right. What we're trying to do is continue the rules-based order that, coincidentally, China has done so well from over the last 75 years. That it's an order that has been promoted by the West, guaranteed by the United States, and democracy has flourished, and indeed so has China.
Yeah, which gets me to this footage that I wanted to show tonight that I learnt about during the week. The latest footage taken by a very brave, he doesn't call himself a journalist, he's someone who wants the Chinese government exposed for what they're doing to the minority groups like the Uyghur people. And he went into Xinjiang, didn't get out of his car, but he went there and filmed concentration camp after concentration camp. You couldn't see any evidence of exercise yards at all. There was a sign on the wall at one stage that read, "Reform through Labor." This is disgraceful.
Oh. Well, it sounds very much like what we saw in the 1930s and 1940s, where the Nazi concentration camps had Arbeit macht frei, which is work or labour makes or sets you free.
Same thing.
It's disgusting. I've seen that footage. We've also seen reports from the Council on Foreign Relations in the United States that says as of 2017, the Chinese have imprisoned over 1 million Uyghurs from their western province in China. And they're going into what they call forced labour, which we all, of course, know as slave labour.
Yeah, we're looking at some of the footage now. Look, areas where you can't find cars, but he got in here and there are these checkpoints and, as I say, signs, cultural modification, and then, as you say, reform through labour. It was filmed by Guan, who's got a YouTube site and keeps putting and covering this kind of stuff, which is picked up by the New York Times, thankfully. It is like a scene out of Europe in the Second World War.
Well, it's incredible. And to think that there are over 1 million Uyghurs that are being detained, forcibly forced to work, not just in these concentration camps, but all across China, for goods and services that are then sold to the West, including us. It's despicable and we need to stop it.
And we give them another Olympic Games to host as well.
Oh.
Like, can you fathom that? It's just appalling.
It is appalling.
Lincoln Parker, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, Chris.
Good on you.